Welcome back to the Rise with Anita Podcast, or welcome if you're new here. If you're new here, this is a space where ambition meets embodiment, where soul meets strategy, and where we explore what it truly means to become the woman you're meant to be while returning to yourself. So today's conversation is actually one I've been wanting to have for a while because I don't actually think most of us have a money problem. We have a safety problem. And until we understand that, we'll keep trying to change our bank account while completely overlooking the body that's quietly deciding what actually feels safe to receive. So maybe you find yourself asking, why do I keep undercharging? Why do I procrastinate every single time an opportunity is showing up? Why do I finally make more money only to spend it? Why do I sabotage the very things I pray for? But before we go any further, I'm going to ask you to not judge yourself. I want you to get curious because these patterns and behaviors didn't just come out of nowhere. They came from somewhere. So I want to ask you something. What is your earliest memory of feeling unsafe with money? And I don't want you to usually go for the quick answer in this case. I want you to take a moment and allow your body to actually sit and answer before your mind does. Because sometimes it's not the conscious memory we have. It's the feeling our nervous system never forgot. But before we dive in, if you're not new here, you already know how I like to arrive together. Please gently place your feet on the floor. Relax your shoulders. And we're going to take a slow inhale through the nose for 4. You're going to hold for 4. And slowly release through the mouth for 6. One more time, we're going to take a deep inhale for 4. Hold for 4. And release through the mouth for 6. And while you are in this state, I want to ask, does more actually feel safe to me? Here's something that's completely changed the way I now understand money. Money isn't emotional. People are. Money isn't actually nervous or anxious. People are. Money doesn't create fears. It reveals them. Because money amplifies whatever your nervous system actually believes about it. So if your body believes more money is more pressure, more visibility is more criticism, you're going to have a response that you're going to avoid success, or you're going to avoid being seen. If your body believes and associates more money is going to deal with more responsibility, which will lead to burnout, then you're going to unconsciously shut it down. Not because you lack discipline or because you're broken, but because somewhere along the way, you learned this isn't safe for me. And here's the thing. We all have a thermostat for what feels safe. So the way I like to think about it is whatever the set point is, for some of us, it might be survival if you grew up that way. For others, it might be not in full abundance. Whatever your thermostat is set to, you will find your way back to, and our nervous systems operate that way. So here's something I've started to remind my clients of more consistently lately. Our nervous system has one job: protection. It's not about abundance or finding our purpose or wealth. It's seriously only focused on protection. So it is constantly scanning our environments and seeking the answer to, am I safe? Not, is this going to make me happier? Will this help me reach my goals? It's just asking, is it safe? And if your body has never had that experience, or you don't know what it feels like to experience abundance within your body, then it's going to look at it as it's unfamiliar. And what's unfamiliar is unsafe. So where do these beliefs really begin? Usually, before we ever earn our own paychecks, we look and we observe the relationships of those around us with their relationships with money. So for you, it might have looked like money created arguments in the household you grew up with. Or maybe success meant there was people who weren't kind. Or perhaps another version of that is success meant people are not present. They're not around. Maybe you watched your parents work themselves into exhaustion and have a relationship with money where money was more important than their health. Maybe you heard, we can't afford that. Money doesn't grow on trees. Rich people are selfish. Or maybe there was no conversations about money whatsoever. So your body simply watched. It began to watch and observe stress, sacrifice, fears, and your nervous system creates the meanings. Not intellectually, but on a biological level, it creates a story that you feel in your actual body. Which brings me to another question. When you imagine being truly wealthy, what emotions rise in your body? And I want you to really pay attention here. Do you feel excitement? Do you feel like a sense of freedom? In the body, it might look like butterflies fluttering. Now, it might also look like fear or contraction. Your chest might tighten. You might feel pressure. Perhaps you feel guilt or responsibility. But your first emotional response often will tell you more than your financial goals ever will. So here's the thing. Mindset isn't enough. And this is why I always tell my clients that sometimes affirmations fall flat because our minds can say, I am abundant, I am a millionaire, I am wealthy. While your body is whispering, bullshit. Please don't make me responsible for more. I can't handle that. It doesn't feel safe. Your mind might say, I'm ready for this, bring it on. And your body might still be bracing, saying, I don't have the capacity yet. Your mind may say, I want the visibility, but your body remembers what it feels like to be judged and criticized. So who wins? Almost always the body. And here's the thing that I've noticed working with women. Most of us aren't actually afraid of money. Money is usually just a doorway. But they are afraid of what comes with it. So this is what I really want to ask now. What part of you is afraid of having more money, visibility, success, or responsibility? Because for some women, More money is more expectations. More visibility means more opinions, more judgments. More success means people depending on you or people approaching you in a different way. More leadership means you can no longer hide. You can't shrink. And if your nervous system associates any of these things with pain, then success is going to feel threatening. Your body isn't trying to keep you broke, but it is trying to keep you safe. So here's the thing, when I think about how I teach the women with the Her method, a lot of us were looking for healing in our relationships, in our lives. But healing isn't about convincing yourself that you're worthy. The worthiness, especially around money, is a huge component. You already are. Healing is beginning to help your body experience the feeling that expansion is safe, and that's a practice. Success doesn't require burnout. Wealth doesn't require self-sacrifice. It can be easy, it can feel like flow, it can be fun. Visibility doesn't require protection. It requires you to be your authentic self. Receiving doesn't require you earning your place in this world. It just requires you being open. And you can finally have more without abandoning yourself. So one of the personal shifts that I've had to make in my own life was this realization that achievement oftentimes feels familiar. I know how to check a box. I know how to get the goal. Overworking felt familiar. Constantly producing felt familiar. But receiving, now that one's a little hard for me, if we're being vulnerable. Rest was also something that didn't feel so familiar. Support, I'm not going to say I was never supported, but it could have its moments where my default was I will just take care of it myself so I don't have to burden anyone. And I realized I wasn't really trying to fix my relationship with money. I was trying to actually begin to learn how to help my nervous system trust that it can hold more without losing myself in the process. Because you see, we all have our stories, and this is lifelong work. You're not just going to get to a place where instantaneously, oh, it's gone. But the way we create safety is the way we did it today. We pause, we slow down, we actually breathe. We ask these questions to our bodies, to our minds, to see how can I create more safety? How can I create more presence? So today, I don't want you to leave this episode going, how do I just make more money? I want you to ask, what would my body need to believe for more to even feel safe? And what does more even look like? Because if we're thinking about it from a law of attraction standpoint, you could say, I want more money. And if you're not specific, here's $1. What does more that would actually feel good to you feel like? Because maybe your next level isn't waiting for another strategy or another certification, if you're like me. Maybe it's actually waiting for your nervous system to finally take a breath. So thank you so much for spending this time with me. If this conversation resonates with you, please share it just with someone you love or a woman who just needs to look at her nervous system and her money. And I have a feeling that there's other women that might feel like they're sabotaging her success, but she's actually not. She's protecting herself the only way her body knows how. So until next time, keep meeting yourself with compassion, keep choosing safety, and keep rising to your next level. And I'll see you in the next episode.